Okay,
I'm ready.
all right. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Town of Ulysses Planning Board meeting for February 18th, 2025. First order is a roll call of board members.
Jeff McDonald.
Linda Little.
Carl Pankowski, Chair.
Mo Klein.
Simon Bernard.
All right. For tonight's agenda, we have the following items. Town board member reports. I don't see anybody so far.
No.
Approval of the February 4th meeting minutes, privilege of the floor. For new business item, we have the following: Crossmore Tram Site Plan, Sketch Plan Review, and board member and staff reports. Any discussion or amendments to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept it as written. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's see, where am I at here? Town board members, we'll take them when we get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get them. Has everyone reviewed the draft minutes for the February 4th meeting?
Mhm.
Any changes, discussion on those?
That's good. It's a
Right.
simple.
Could I have a motion to approve the draft minutes?
Yes. I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Privilege of the floor is the portion of our board meeting where members of the public may make general comments on items that are not related to items on tonight's agenda. Public comments limited to 3 minutes in length. I don't see anybody online, and the 3 in the room belong to the business tonight. Do I have a motion to close privilege of the floor?
So, second.
All in favor?
Thanks.
Alright. For new business item, we have the Crossmore Tram Site Plan, Sketch Plan Review. A proposal to construct a new 50-foot tram system from the upper portion of the subject lot down the steep slope to the lower portion of the lot near the shoreline. Proposed location of the tram is within the front setback and buffer to the lake, so it will need to obtain area variances from the BZA. And it's on the BZA's agenda for tomorrow night. Alright. Sean, would you like to kind of go through this with us, what you're doing?
Sure. So, I don't know what we have for, drawings up on the screen, but we have plans in front of maybe some of you. There's I'm a little out of sorts with the new furniture and the new high-tech TV here, so that's really exciting. I mean, I had the option to dial in tonight from Macedon, New York versus coming down here. Is that an option for me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about
we've
that.
had people do that, yeah.
Okay, good. I appreciate the opportunity and thanks again for having entertaining this application for Crossmores over at Denonic 1125, the address. We've installed a number of trams to dealerships now, so we have, I think, a fairly decent reputation. I could walk you through the tram system again if you so desire. I have show and tell in the part and in the car. I got some parts, but it gets a little bit boring a little bit. But certainly any questions we can talk about the tram. But this site is I would say one of our easier installations. It's in the middle of the property. It's not near the north or south property line. It is in the setback from the lake, of course. That's what we do as far as trams go. So you understand the zoning requirement, the variance requirement for tomorrow. It's a 50-foot tram, 50 degrees at 50/50. So one that's kind of right in our wheelhouse. I would say fairly average. The hill is very straightforward. There's really very little, might be one tree to remove, very little vegetation. It's actually a very kind of ideal site for us. With no hill excavating or hill shaping that's required on this site, so it's very favorable. It's just adjacent. It's just north of an existing staircase. Current Crossmores currently use that staircase to get to their house. Their house is at the bottom of the slope, and it's a fairly lengthy driveway getting down to the top of the cliff. More gradual, and then when you get to the cliff, then it's fairly steep. So the idea would be to put the tram in to help them safely get to their house where they live year round. So that asset is get a little bit older, according to their description. The tram will actually be a 3-station tram, meaning you'll enter at the top, there'll be an upper station, and I don't know if I'm. He's got the back to me, I guess, right, there's no camera, right, so I apologize for, there's a board member
Yeah,
on the bicycle.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's,
That's right.
Neil's our, yeah, Bernard is our alternate member.
Okay.
So-
But he
very
has some materials. so
Okay.
You can follow along,
Um,
yeah.
So there'll be an upper station where it's basically level with the kind of the parking area at the top of the cliff. You know, you drive down and park there, and then your upper station is the point where you get on the tram cabin. Cabin holds about 3 to 4 people, about 800 pounds of payload. The tram then the tracks will then kind of traverse down to the lower level, which you'll be able to exit down on their back lawn, which is fairly around, walked it up today, around 30 feet or so to the retaining wall. But more importantly, there'll be a station about 12 feet up so they can access their house. Their top level of the house is where they enter. It's kind of the main level. So
So is that 2 stations then, one at the bottom, one? in the
actually
middle?
3. So one at the
Three.
bottom,
Oh,
one at
well,
the
yeah,
top.
top one,
Yeah, and one in the middle, correct.
so there's one in the
Yeah,
middle,
so
okay.
call it a 3-station tram. You'll enter and exit from the south side, always. Then
So it connects to, it looks like a deck of some sort,
we'll build an extension to connect the
Yeah.
tram station to the existing.
deck,
Oh,
okay.
just-
I have pictures.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
there.
Yeah,
Just, I don't
yeah,
know where it's where.
yes,
Yeah.
it would be, and
It'll go
pretty
into
much
that
we try to match kind of what's there
platform.
depending on
Yeah.
the, if it's, pressure treated, typical, New York State building code construction. In this case, we'll have railings and a door depending on the customer's preference there. But fairly standard for us. Each station will have we call a station door, which that's open and the tram won't operate, kind of a safety control thing. Each station will also have a control box, so you'll be able to call the tram up or down to that station if the cabin isn't there. And fairly standard. On up, be the on off heat switch. The tram runs on 220 power, which is available there. So that would be wired in, and the rest of the tram is low voltage control wiring for that. So and pretty.
What's the finish on the tram itself?
Typically, it's mostly aluminum, stainless steel, and some plastic parts. And all of the aluminum is the track components are anodized, and they're anodized mainly for color, but also for wear. So the whole system is kind of this. It's not invisible, but it's all brown, dark, kind of. It's just kind of, we try to make it as indescript as possible. The cabin is also aluminum, and that's painted, powder coated brown. And then the hoist system is covered by an aluminum hoist cover, also kind of same kind of painted around. So maybe super boring. We again don't like to call attention to ourselves too much. And then the railings typically are, depending on again customer's preference, generally they're also aluminum brown railings and composite.
Are they gonna put the emergency egress stairs on this one or not, or haven't decided?
Not initially.
Okay.
Those can always be added. They have a set of this
It's
staircase.
a perfectly good
Not right
staircase.
next to them, but they're pretty functional, so. That would be an option you can have later.
Mhm.
And then described before that the tram is affixed to the cliff with 2-inch aluminum anodized piles or pipe that we pound to refusal, which is typically 42 inches or deeper. A pair of pilings every 12 feet coming up the hill. So in this case, it'd be like our I-beam's 25-foot length, so it's basically 4 sections of I-beam, total of 50 feet. And then,
Okay.
6 sets of pilings supporting it.
How wide is your construction pad?
Well, the track is about 4 feet. The track is 4 feet. The pilings are just outside of that, so close to probably about 60 inches between the two. So the whole thing would occupy 6 foot by 50 foot swath. The actual impact of the ground is pretty minimal. Described that before. It's or less than 2 square feet if you add up all the pipe But so it's not, it's a very, we think a very superior way to attach and secure components to the hill versus, digging holes in concrete footers like the old days. It's a very effective way to construct our system. And it's been very effective for us.
Mhm.
So, so that's the tram overview. We can certainly answer any questions or.
No, we
I-
know the tram.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be good though in the package to have a diagram of it coming down with the second. Is there additional hardware required because of the second stop?
Not really. There are
Okay.
just control components. So on the track, we'll add a couple of switches. So the tram will automatically stop at that middle station, at the house station every time.
Yeah,
So there's another set of switches. There's another egress door, a station door.
okay,
There's another control box. So there's those components that would go with,
yeah.
but no additional track or any additional hardware on the tram itself.
So some way you could sketch that and superimposed on the picture of the
Yeah,
slope.
yeah, I can. We've got a number of
Okay.
examples I could send
Okay,
out to
I think
showing.
it would be good
Yeah.
to have that.
Yeah,
in
we've
the
had some
thing.
trams with many as 6 stations and multiple sides, so we've had a couple of trams where 3 families were sharing it and 2 houses on either side of the ravine, and it was a lot of stations, and a lot of control boxes, and everybody wanted their own, and
Yeah,
okay,
right,
so we accommodated that, but 2 stations is probably our most common, 3 stations would be our next, for
okay.
sure.
So this has to go to the BZA?
Yeah,
Yes,
so we don't have to make any conditions.
And the
until we hear what they
BZA
say. Yeah,
right, and the BZA already has a public hearing posted, and they've got it scheduled for tomorrow night.
oh, they're having a hearing too?
So do we
Yeah.
have to hold the public hearing for this if they're
don't-
holding one?
I don't think so. I would think if the BZA holds a public hearing tomorrow night, I don't see us gaining anything by holding a second one.
It's at the board's discretion whether or not to do a public hearing.
Well, if they're having one, I don't think we need another. Just,
Wait
Yeah.
and see what comes out of that one,
Right,
well, yeah, we have
Yeah.
to wait and see what happens with them, sure.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Cause I
But
like,
if they approve the variance, then I think it would just come back to us to
Yeah,
finish up our
right.
part.
And that's why I'm thinking just. Assume they approve and then that's what we would need. And also the tree, like, there's a tree that won't be removed.
We just talked about it today, probably, it's not a large tree, there's one, we're
Mhm.
kind of a tree hugger myself, we try to really save the trees, we understand the value, but in this case, we also want to balance what's the best for the site and the application, there's certainly plenty of trees on the property, but it is
Okay.
kind of almost right where the perfect spot is, and if, certainly you could put the tram off to the north or south of it, and but it's a little bit of a.
Yeah,
And you
it's
said-
it's that 6-inch maple right next
Yeah.
to you got a post there with like a brass cap on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and if
Oh,
the
yeah.
upper station is gonna be sort of
Okay.
wrapped around it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
a 6-inch diameter,
so
maybe,
what's important is to just get a document. So that it's, yeah,
yeah.
which one are you talking about on your picture?
On the first picture,
Cause you're standing there, somebody's standing there.
that's
going up the
his
hill.
foot.
Oh,
But if you look at the first picture,
Yeah,
the left hand where the handrail comes up for by the,
yeah.
that's the stair, that's the tree that might potentially go away. Oh, wait, you know what it did? My darn computer inverted that first picture. Flipped it. It flipped it because the house is on the wrong side, so it's actually the one on the right-hand side over there. going by that little-
That one, that big one right there?
Well, it's a 6-inch
Yeah,
diameter
yeah.
maple, yeah, that's the one that's
Okay.
right dead in line. Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking from the bottom up. Okay,
Yeah.
This is the one going down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the first, you're on the second page, you're
Yeah,
on the first
yeah.
page, but I
I think I
realize
have it
now
here,
that
yeah.
it flipped it.
All right.
Because it did it to a different picture and I had to delete it and insert the picture again. I don't know, somehow me and fingers, I managed to flip it over and
This one right here,
that one is far enough over by the stairs, that'll stay.
this one,
This is the one that'll.
but I
go away.
thought it's running along the stairs.
Well, but the stairs are south of it. So if you look down to the house, the stairs are, this is the corner of the
Right, that's the
stairs.
stairs, yeah.
So if this picture was flipped over the right way.
I see,
you Flip this sucker.
I understand. Yep, I understand. I understand.
This is an old guy playing with a computer.
I shouldn't do that.
Shouldn't be allowed. But it did it to another one on there and I booted that one out and replaced it, but I didn't realize that first one was.
Okay,
inverted.
now I understand what you're saying, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, so those are almost a day, almost a day of install with the homeowners there to say, here's, we can really put it anywhere, within that region and
Really,
scope,
yeah,
the
right.
latitude, don't go down to, there might be a rock outcropping that we can avoid and not have to disturb the soil, or sometimes it makes sense to do that. So we always say there's, minimal soil disturbance in our application, because you don't know exactly.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the variance, would we even look at this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
'Cause it's
we've
in-
been looking at
because
it
it's
right
in the-
along.
yeah.
Because it's in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so as long as it's a maple, no, yeah. Yeah.
What was your question?
If it wasn't for the variance that was needed, would we even be reviewing?
The whole application?
Yeah, this,
Yeah.
the installation.
Oh, right, yeah, being a building, building permit, part of the requirements of the town.
Yeah,
So our
Right.
next step is just waiting for what the BZA says.
Yes.
Right.
And then
Okay,
put it back on our agenda.
yep,
Yeah, I don't, other than for Linda's request there for, to kind of show how the intermediate station is
Yeah.
gonna work in there.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can definitely get you that for sure, and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fairly confident in the, well, we don't know what the
Yeah.
board questions they'll have, but they might have a few things as well, but they might approve it contingent on something, or they might
Yeah.
disapprove it and do it,
Yeah,
but
and-
we'll definitely get that information,
Yeah, if you send it back to Niels, he'll get it out to us.
yeah.
yeah,
What's the oldest tram you had that's still in service? Just out of
We
curiosity.
really started in 2007, or my boss had started the company, and it was actually on his property. He since sold that property, but it's still in service. It's the product is very much it's designed for, almost 24/7 up, like hotel elevator motors, that kind of stuff, very overkill. The actual use of it is much less. The tram systems really will last for, we believe, 20 plus years, 20, 30 years. So all of our trams are still in. We probably have 170 trams installed now, mostly in the Finger Lakes.
So do they work with this ice and?
Well, I just
And
talked to
snow.
Carl today, probably, you get this combination of winter and you get, like anything, generally speaking, the snow really doesn't stick very well on the aluminum, especially when the
Right.
sun comes out, it melts. So, but this year, you certainly have to keep an eye on it and knock the snow off, knock the ice off. Because if you get like a 4 inches of snow and it's gonna stick, and then it melts a little, then it freezes, that
Then
will
you're
inhibit
done.
the motion for sure. So,
Yeah,
we've had probably a few extra calls this year. Most of our customers don't use their houses in the winter. Carl does, the Carl does too, so we do accommodate for that, but it's designed for both months, Rochester, New York State, whatever.
yeah. See here, this is the application. I'd like to see this section where the next stop is.
Yeah,
on
that's
this-
what Linda
on
was
this plan.
asking for.
Yeah, that's what I
Not,
wanted to
not a photograph, but I want it to
Well-
be, because the deck has to be extended there.
well, that would be fine.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
we'll
that
we'll do a
would be
better
fine.
job.
Do you know which one
Yeah.
I'm talking about? It's
Yeah.
this one here,
Sure.
the upper view. If you could just show where the deck is gonna extend out to
Sure.
and everything, and where the stop is going to be.
Yeah.
Because that's what the plan that we'll be signing, or he'll be
Yeah.
signing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that won't be difficult at all. That's something we can.
Okay.
make sure that's on there.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Nope,
Done.
sounds good.
If we ask for things like that, can we just ask for like a delineation of the edge of the construction zone?
Mhm.
So that there's an actual work limit?
Yeah,
That could be
we've
great.
done that as well, sure.
And then, of course, we get a free ride when it opens.
Anytime.
Yes.
Winter.
Sure, get a free ride down, the ride's up for $10.
Okay, very good. It's just like a ski trail, you know, we can- yeah.
Yeah, it used to be free.
the BZA issues their decision tomorrow, do you want to schedule it for the next available meeting? Okay,
which would be
that would be March 13th. Oh, wait,
No.
March 4th, sorry.
March 4th.
If the BZA kicks it to the 19th of March, though, just to let
Then-
everyone know.
Then
That
we're
the
out in
timing-
April and
you're
that
out
sort of
until
stuff.
April.
Mm,
Hope that doesn't happen.
Yes.
We,
So-
yeah, I hope not. I don't think we've had, some more challenging cases that we've worked through with zoning, but, so.
mhm.
If the weather stays like this, it will be better.
What's that?
If the weather stays like this, it will. be
Yeah,
better.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, I know, no end in sight, really. Yeah, that would be great. Like, yeah. We're hoping, this is on our spring schedule, if it works out. We
Mhm.
understand. Versus,
Actually, be a little hard to pound those posts this time of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It would be a little hard to pound those posts. this time
Correct,
of year.
yeah, we pretty much go inside and do all of our manufacturing in the winter, so it kind of works out pretty well.
oh,
We
yeah.
weld all of our cabins and carriages and
Yeah.
all of our electrical components are all assembled in shop, so it's really December through usually March. If we're on the hill in April, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a month of rain too, so,
Yeah.
try not to promise anyone anything, but. We'll get it in. The whole system probably will be in typically within a week, usually it's the tram goes in fairly quickly and then the stations are really take. Almost as long, if not longer,
yeah.
to build those.
When they put mine in, mine's about 70 foot of track and they pounded the post for that in about 4 hours.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. It doesn't take long.
And then the track mine came in 6 pieces and they just handed them down the hill and bolted them together and.
and then we get to some sites where you're hitting, sometimes you'll hit, granite and you have to fix the pipe a different way, or you'll hit sand where sometimes it'll be 15, 20, 25 feet.
Yeah.
And, add extensions and go down, it just.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, though, this type of shale dirt is just incredibly favorable for our system. It's just a great combination. It's a great kind of partnership with a site, so.
Yeah. Good.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
sure. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
good luck tomorrow.
All right, yeah,
Drive safely.
yeah, it's pretty tame out there now.
Yeah.
You never know.
I think I'll zoom into tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad, yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Yes. Have a good night.
have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
They are the same folks that were here last February and March about an accessory dwelling unit.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. Apparently it got too expensive once they put all the details together, so. And when you get starting down their driveway about maybe 100 feet down, there's about 25 different trees marked with X's out there.
Yes,
that-
I saw
That would
those.
have been
Cut
where
for-
the ADU would have gone, but
Yeah,
the forest is there and the ADU didn't happen, so they're gonna spend their
Yeah.
money on the tram, but
Actually, the tram's not a bad idea.
no.
I mean, it's cheaper than probably putting up a whole building.
Oh, yeah.
and it's, yeah. and
It's still
rather
not
than
a,
putting
it's still not a cheap toy. Mine, the tram system itself was 87,000.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
the
they're not
additional
cheap.
staircase, the emergency egress stairs, cause my old wooden stairs were falling apart, was another 10 grand onto it, so.
So what maintenance do you have to do?
Yeah, but
And-
they have to put. the
They
building-
come out once a year on a service maintenance to grease a couple fittings that are on
Yeah.
there and check the cables and make sure that's all tight. But, that's it.
Yeah.
All
It's
you
very
need is a
simple.
grease gun, huh?
You got a cable drum that 2 cables come up and wrap around the same drum, they just feed out both ways.
Yeah.
And there's one more cable that has a clamp device on, that's the emergency stop brake. It will clamp onto that other cable, that's what he was telling me is if you get ice on the track. And push the down button, it'll pay out some cable off the drum. And then if later the ice thaws out, then
Yeah,
the car slides down
It
this.
stops it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they gotta come out and reset it if it breaks away free like that and the brake locks up.
They don't want you working it without getting checked out.
What?
They don't want anybody working it without it getting checked out after that.
Yeah, but, well, apparently, they went over with me, if you had to release the brake, there's a panel under, in the front of the car, you gotta pull off and get down there and reset something. It's probably easier to have them come out and do it. But anyhow, that's the rest of the story on these, because we've seen these guys before
Oh, yeah.
in the last year, and, but, yeah, but it certainly makes sense for them since everything has to get schlepped down to that house, in my case, I can drive down to my cottage, and it's just getting from the cottage to the lake shore.
Yeah.
Theirs,
No,
the house is on the lake shore.
Right.
The only way in is down those steps, so. Mo, do you have anything from the last comprehensive steering committee? meeting?
yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah, what we did is, the group, MRB gave, 3 mission statements. Not 3, 5 mission statements, and we picked out what we liked on the mission statements. And, they're going to rewrite it now. The ones that we talked about was 1 and 5. They were gonna see if they can sort of bring them
Put
together.
them together.
And then we're gonna see it the next time, see what the mission statement is.
Okay.
We haven't seen any of the new ones, have we? No, not yet.
No.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people did show up that day, so there was only like 3. 4.
Barely enough.
Yeah, 4,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But we did our best, and I mean,
Mhm.
It won't be the last. There'll be a second visioning exercise with the town board,
Oh, so that was an open visioning one?
just for
Or
town
just for
board
the-
and comp plan steering committee members.
Oh, yeah.
Once
okay.
there's a public workshop scheduled, the entire town will be able to.
Okay,
yeah, that might
Partake in
be
it.
till March or something, I think.
oh, yeah,
um,
okay, I just didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was one, I was.
We didn't come
curious
up with
to
the,
participate.
farm for the farmers yet, did we?
Getting, I think I have a sign off from Liz on
Yeah.
the distribution list.
Oh,
So-
Okay, so it hasn't been scheduled then?
No,
No, because that's the one thing we were waiting for is for the farmers.
Right.
And we thought it might be sometime in March, but now, who knows?
Well, if it
Yeah.
gets much later, they're gonna be out in the fields, you're gonna have
Right,
a
I
tough
know.
time rounding
I know.
anybody.
Yeah, sure,
This is the time to do it,
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's all that really happened. No, so-
okay. And they haven't started coming out with any of the sections of the actual comp plan yet.
No,
Mm.
might be coming out for the next meeting though. So,
Well, I have an update on the water committee. We're coming up with the plans we're actually gonna submit to the DEC soon. And then out of that, so once this plan is done and the town reviews it and then goes to the DEC and gets accepted, the main purpose of it is to give us some leverage as far as grants and things like that that might have to.
Are you talking
that
about
I
for
went to.
water service and?
For, no, oh,
No.
no, it's just for how do we protect water, drinking water. In particular, we're focused on the well water. Yeah,
I know, that's a difficult one, yeah.
right, right. So that's the main purpose, but it does get into the community water, the water districts as well, which just as a definition of what they are and what you have to include that in the plan when you present it. But the committee itself has focused on the wells more than anything else.
Mm.
So out of it, though, one section of it is regulatory, and where we talk about what recommendations we would make to the town for assisting in helping with let's see, what's the right way to put it? Just making sure that water access supply is protected
Mm.
to the existing folks in the community. So we came up with, Rebecca helped me because she was on the committee too, so she helped a little as well, and Roxanne. And we've come up with some recommendations. One of the key ones is like that we're going that I like is to have a seeker-like process included in the site plan review. So
So for drilling.
that, yeah, so that, we've had, I know you've been here when we've had people coming and, when the campground is going to
Right, they were
expand their
gonna drill
wells.
some new wells.
And everybody's like,
Yeah, because
well-
that area doesn't have any water to begin with. Most
Right.
people go dry in that area.
Yeah.
And with another well sucking water, yeah.
yeah, and that's a problem. And so we're recommending some, and we plagiarized it from some other organizations that had done, the wording for it. But before we go through, I'd like to review it, what we have exactly with
Yeah,
the
sure.
group in one of these sessions.
Yeah.
we have,
Yeah,
just
that would
to
be a
give
good
you 2
idea.
cents. Yeah,
Because also
On
it
it.
would help with the comp plan, because we've
Right.
been talking about
this
that
is
also.
supposed to feed the comp plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what
one
we're
of
pushing.
our, yeah,
Yeah,
items that we were discussing was water.
Do
yeah.
you have,
Well, we got Roxanne on,
Right.
keep set, yeah,
do you have the current water district
maps.
maps? Like
Yeah, it's
overlay
right.
what's covered?
It's
on
it's
the
on,
website.
you can get it on the
On the
town.
town site?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's, there's two, actually. There's one that runs, that's really old, that is probably gonna fail, but it's not, it doesn't belong, I think, to Ulysses. It was put in many, many, many years ago.
So there's no real ownership of it.
Right, there's
Yeah,
no
that's
real
what it-
ownership of
yeah.
it, and the other one comes
Yeah.
from Ithaca, and it comes up 96 and sort of up to the Hamlet, Jacksonville, and that
Yeah.
area. The problem with water districts, like to make a new water district, everybody has to sign on. If one person doesn't, no water district, everybody, like if you take a road, everybody on that road has to sign.
Well, a
Okay.
percentage. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I don't
think
think it's
it's-
everybody.
No, I
I
don't
think
it
it's
is.
everybody.
Well,
I don't
I'm-
think for a district.
Well, that's what I heard a comment from, well, actually, I think it's Caitlin lives
Yeah.
over there when they brought
Falls-
the new,
yeah.
when they brought the new line up to the town from the park down there that
From
comes up.
Ithaca.
And they had one person that objected, and I don't know how that's set up. That seems like a strange way to say, guaranteed way to fail if you've gotta have 100% participation before you put it in, rather than something like 75 or 80%. If that many people vote for it, then the rest of you, that's it, you're in whether you like it or
But
not.
anybody who doesn't vote for it still has to pay for it.
Right.
That's the reason that
Well,
if you vote
that's,
no,
well, that's typically the way sewers and that are done, it's
Yeah.
sort of majority rule, but it's
Mm.
like a super majority typically. Cause I don't remember on Water District 1 when it was created, like 15, 20 years ago.
Well, the rules have probably changed. so-
When I
yeah,
read through all the town minutes from 2004, there was a section in there when they were putting together, Water District 1, the one that feeds Jacksonville and that sort of stuff. And, I don't think they had 100%.
in those days they
there.
might not have, but I was reading some of the New York state laws and they've changed over the years. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it's 100%, but it,
Neil, I think Niels knows.
Well, I don't know for sure, but
Oh, okay.
I'm leaning more towards Linda and Jeff, where I think it's similar to annexations where there has to be a certain, say 75% that have to sign
Yeah.
on for a petition. And then it goes before the town board, and it may have been what you're thinking, like the municipality may have said no because there wasn't
100%.
a consensus from everybody to
Mm.
go forward.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
becomes a
it did
political
say
issue.
no, because, yeah, they couldn't get enough. people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think to start the process, I don't think you have to have 100%.
Yeah.
I have to look that up again, because I was.
and that's
remember
just to
reading something
justify
about-
doing the research, getting the surveys and,
Yeah.
engineer reports and find out what it's gonna cost. Then you tell
Oh,
them the
then-
cost, then.
When I lived in New Hampshire, the town itself had water and sewer. The water lines were lead. They were that old.
Yeah,
To replace it all was astronomical,
yeah,
because they had to dig up the whole streets. All the houses had to have new feeds.
Yeah.
A lot of people complained because the town would put the line in, but you had to hook it up.
You
And
had
just
pay
to
for
hook
the
it up
hookup.
was like between $10,000 and $15,000, just to
Yeah.
hook up the line.
right,
So a lot of people didn't. They just,
live with their lead, yeah.
yeah,
that
just
sounds
lived with the
easy.
lead pipes. It does become very expensive,
Well,
unfortunately.
and that's the point to doing something like this plan, because then if there's grant dollars available or anything to help if you find a
The
problem.
big problem now is that
But
that
probably not
funding's all from
anymore.
the EPA. which Might not be there anymore.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I mean, that was the dream when we started the committee.
They also,
So then you have to wonder, does lead really cause a health problem? Maybe it's
Those
just.
old
Yeah.
pipes, they get
It's
coatings on the
good for you.
inside.
Yeah, so, yeah, a little lead is good. Also, the sewer system failed and they had to replace it. But what they did is something that was actually cost saving. They put in plastic pipe that's made on site. It's a coil. And it's a machine that actually makes the pipe and passes it through and it comes all the way up.
Miners,
So like,
Have you ever seen that?
yeah.
Yeah,
they extrude it into
Yes.
the.
right in, and they did the whole line that way, and it was a
Wow.
lot cheaper than digging up all the streets. Because that would have
Yeah.
meant, almost every sewer, every manhole
Yeah,
cover,
right.
everything would have to have been replaced. But yeah, they just ran the plastic lines through it and it worked,
Wow.
So they essentially a liner inside the
Yeah,
old pipe.
the old
yeah.
pipe. If there was a crushed pipe, they would have to dig it up, but most of the pipes were just old concrete or clay pipes, and they were
Yeah,
able
right.
to put those plastic
Feed it
pipes in
down
them.
there, yeah. Well,
Tram site.
Yeah.
That's good, buddy.
Hey, it worked, and it was a lot cheaper than digging everything up.
God. Yeah, they're digging
Yeah.
up the tile in the fields down, like we talked about last week. They went through last week,
Mm.
one of the fields, and there's huge clumps.
Yeah,
Oh,
that one right off
sure.
of Crumb's Corner,
Yeah,
or it's Dubois.
No, they're
no,
doing-
it's
they
Du
did,
Bois and
Du
Perry
Bois
City.
and Perry
Perry
City.
City.
right,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
still have Agard to do and a whole bunch of
Yeah, I
others. that
see the
they-
6
but-
rolls on Agard,
Yeah.
'cause they had 3 of them over there on that chicken farm on Perry City.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
down to 1 now, so they
Yeah.
buried 2 of them, but well, when he was here, he was talking about the frost being down a foot or more, and that's what
Right.
it looked like, the blocks that came up.
Wow.
Well, they don't really care because they'll be able to,
They got
Wow.
power enough
Until we
to
have a
pull it.
really wet spring.
yeah. Well, that's what they're worried about. They want to do it before it gets rainy, because then they won't be able to do it. And once the mud sets in, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
But when you do that and you have a windy, well, there's been enough snow cover this year, but if you didn't have the snow cover, what happens a lot of times when they plow late,
Right.
is the snow, the
The dirt.
soil blows off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Okay,
Okay.
I make a motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjournment?
I do.
All right.
I